Deputy foreign ministers from 3 countries are meeting in Seoul. The talks are seen as an attempt to ease Beijing's concerns over its neighbours' growing defence ties with Washington. Let's go to Florence Louis, who is live in Seoul for us. Florence, what exactly are we expecting from this meeting?
Well, this is an attempt to revive a trilateral summit that was first held in 2008 between leaders of South Korea, China and Japan. But these summits were suspended in 2019 amid a dispute between South Korea and Japan, and also subsequently because of the pandemic. So these talks are an attempt to try and revive that summit. Now, this meeting in Seoul comes also on the back of a meeting between South Korean Prime Minister Han Duck-soo and Chinese President Xi Jinping over the weekend in Hangzhou on the sidelines of the Asian Games. Now, analysts say this is an attempt to allay concerns that Beijing may have over Seoul drawing closer to Washington. Now, since President Yoon Suk-yeol took power last year, he's charted a foreign policy course that was quite different from his predecessors. He had a clear tilt in favor of the U.S. We saw him reinstating large-scale military exercises with the U.S. that had either been downsized or suspended by the previous administration. Now, his rationale was that Seoul had to up its military readiness as a deterrent to North Korea that had declared itself a nuclear weapons state last year and had out regular tests of banned weapons. But China sees these military drills as an attempt to encircle it. Now, that position never really bothered the Yoon administration much, but analysts say there has been a slight change. They're seeing a slight change in tone, and this could also be explained perhaps by the fact that Seoul is now concerned about Pyongyang drawing closer to Moscow. We've seen North Korean leader Kim Jong-un visit Russia, having meetings with Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, and with talks about closer military cooperation between the two. So now we're seeing renewed efforts by the Yoon administration to draw in China into what President Yoon has described as hoping to send out a message to rein in the nuclear threat from North Korea.
Many thanks, Florence Louis, there for us in Seoul. US President Joe Biden says he's working with Congress on a plan to invest $200 million in Pacific Island nations. Washington's hosting a summit of leaders from the Pacific in a bid to counter China's influence in the region. Climate change, economic growth and sustainable development are all on the agenda. Kimberly Halkett reports.